Hello, my name is Carol May Whittick, and welcome to Her Conversations, Tools for the Awakening Woman. Her is an acronym for Higher Energetic Resonance. This is the optimal state to embody in order to attract our highest desires. Who is the awakening woman? She's a woman who's seeking a greater possibility in her reality and looking for solutions. She knows being awakened is not a lofty ideal, but a necessity. If she can transform herself, she can change the world. Her conversations will introduce you to talented women who will speak to your spirituality, sensuality, and soul. They share their stories and explain how they are in service to the world. So let their words and these conversations embolden and inspire you. My guest on this week's Her Conversations is intuitive strategist and human design expert, Aycee Brown. In her own words, human design is a holistic system that reveals your strengths, illuminates your challenges, and celebrates your divine design. Human design represents a clear reflection of who you are, who gets you, and where you belong in society. Aycee knows it's her mission to present human design in a way that connects to people who recognise the advantages of this tool. During our conversations, she explains the different aura types. She gives me a manifesting generator, a mini reading, and also some valuable advice, and then also explains why Beyonce is unstoppable. We also touch on the shift occurring as women of colour become more visible as practitioners of a variety of modalities in spirituality. But as always, I begin by asking my guests, Her is an acronym for Higher Energetic Resonance. When do you feel you're most her?
Oh gosh, so many times throughout the day, but mostly honestly in those wee hours of the morning. And sometimes spirit will like wake me up and it'll be like 333 or 444 and or 111. And then sometimes I'll either get like a download or some type of like just thought, and I'll just write it down. And sometimes it's scary and sometimes it's uncomfortable, but that's when I feel mostly that energetic resonance and just being myself, because I know that I'm on my path and that spirit is listening to me and watching me and protecting me.
And they're such important hours of the day as well, those like wee hours of the day. I don't think people realise. And even recently I was speaking to my brother, who's like, I keep waking up in the middle of the night. Like people panic that they wake up in the middle of the night. I'm like, those hours actually have a name. They're called like the Amrit Vela or ambrosial hours. And in like my Kundalini practice, this is when you wake up and this is when you do your sadhana practice, because like most people are sleeping, you're in tune with spirit. It's the best time of the day to get up and do it. So getting up and doing your practice or getting up there and getting those downloads, there's a reason for it. And if more people realize that it's actually a thing and it's nothing, you haven't got insomnia, you don't need to go on any tablets. It's like your soul is waking you up for a reason. Those are the best times of the day. It's my favorite time of the day. It really is.
Exactly. Yeah, like your soul's waking you up, and I need to start embracing that more and like actually getting up instead of like, all right, spirit, what you want? And then going back to sleep, embracing it more.
That's when all the ideas come. For me, anyway, that's when I get my best work done, those hours. And just to find out more about you, and, we'll go into more about human design in a moment, but how did your life lead you into this work?
Oh gosh, where do I begin? So I've been a seeker for a majority of my life, as long as I could remember. When I was younger, my grandmother noticed that I had, how, Southern people call the gift. And I remember her taking me to in New York, we had like number spots in most urban areas, like lottery, legal number spots, is what they called. And I would pick numbers for her and she would win, or the phone would ring and I would know who was on the other line, things like that. And so just getting older, I started like Barnes and Nobles was like my best friend. I'm an only child, and I would go and look at the spiritual section and just start reading stuff all the time and start really just like, this is interesting. And I just remember always seeking a new way of learning, whether it was within religion or without religion, just really seeking. And so as I got into my teens and getting ready to college, I was very into like, I discovered Abraham Hicks and I was just like, oh my gosh, this is amazing. And just having that baseline for, oh, you can create your reality and all of this stuff, and thoughts are things, and Tony Robbins and all of those people, and Jack Canfield, and just all of those people. And it was just like, oh wow, I can do this. And then I just started seeking and just learning about, I'll never forget buying an astrology book at like 13 and just diving in, learning about astrology. And I got to the point where I could talk to somebody and like know their signs, like, oh, you must have a moon in such and such, because I was just so in tune with it. And as I got older, I just was seeking and just searching. And along that line, I was also starting businesses, failing at them. I'm an entrepreneur at heart. I have my MBA in marketing. And I would just like be failing all the time. And I'm just like, what's going on? Why is nothing working? And about, it's like 10 years ago now, I had a photography business, and I was interning at a local photographer's commercial studio. And I was very cool with the makeup artist, and she was like super yogi. She had just finished like a 60-day yogi thing where she had did yoga for every day for 60 days because she was going through like this period in her life and all of this stuff. And she was telling me about human design, and I was just like, oh, okay, that's cool. And I was like, oh no, because she's a manifesting generator actually. And she was just like, oh, this is this and that. And I was like, oh, okay, I know I'm a manifester. Like, I am a manifester. That's me, because I was into, Abraham Hicks, and I'm in The Secret, all of that stuff. And then I found out that I wasn't. I was like, I'm a projector. What is this? And I was like so pissed off. I was like, what is this? Why is this happening? And I just started researching, and then everything made sense. Everything literally like fell together. And it was just like, that's why this didn't work out. That's why that didn't work out. And because I am a scholar at heart and I love learning, if there's a training on something, I will spend money and just take it just for my own knowledge. So I started spending money on courses and trainings and just learning about it. And then I just started reading charts just for myself. But what I noticed through all this time is that there wasn't really any practical application of it. It was just a bunch of theory. It was just like, this is what this is. This is what that is. This is what this is. But it was just like, okay, well, how do you live the life of a projector or a manifesting generator? How do you actually utilize that gate? How do you actually utilize those centers? And that's when I started filling in the blanks for myself and showing other people how to do it. And so that's how I'm here now. I'm like, I guess I was fine. Everything happens in its timing. I'm finally ready to talk to people about it. And I've been practicing for so long. And what I mean practicing is practicing on my own life. And, and over the last, I would say 3 or 4 years, I've been using it in my business, using it, helping other people in their business, bringing awareness to it. So it's just like, now it's like, okay, it's time to like tell the whole world, like, I'm the messenger. I'm here to do this. And so that's how I got here.
Love it. And can you explain, and also to me a little bit, because to be honest, I only found out about human design maybe a year ago, and it was just in that somebody said, oh, go to this website and find out this thing because I think you're that. And she was just like just another interested party. So I went on and went, oh, that's what I am. Cool. Then I did absolutely nothing with it because I didn't know what to do with it. And it was a nice thing. Where's it from? What are you supposed to do with it? What can you do with human design?
Well, human design is a combination of astrology, the Kabbalah system, Aycee, metaphysics, just all of that stuff. And it was downloaded by Rob, which is the person who, I guess you can say, invented it back in, I believe it was the late 70s, early 80s. And he downloaded all of this information, and then he put together this system. It was like a download that he got for all of this. And what it does is it helps you make better decisions to keep you in alignment with who you're supposed to be and who you were born to be. But what happens when most people discover human design, we've already been conditioned by our family, socioeconomic stuff, religion, whatever it is. And so our natural flow and natural core of us is kind of like washed away. But you know something's wrong. You know something doesn't feel right, but you're just like, well, what is it? And then when you discover human design and who you are in human design, things start making sense. And so now it's like putting you back on the track to that person, that who you were born to be. And so each aura type has a specific strategy on how they're supposed to make decisions, because life is really about making decisions. So whether you read, I like to say, and I just made up this analogy today, that think of human design, think of astrology as New York City, and human design is the subway system. It's different routes, different ways to get to different destinations, but they all go to the same place. So if you want to go to the Bronx, you got to get on the D train. If you want to go to Queens, you get on this train, all of that stuff. So astrology is that whole big melting pot of your life. Your natal chart is this is the ultimate of who you can be. Human design is the instructions on how to fulfill it. It's about making those decisions to get there, making those decisions and flow with who you are, utilizing the gates in your chart, your centers, part of your personality to excel and accelerate your life and thrive from whatever point you discover yourself.
Fascinating. So there are different types. So I know, is it 4 types? There's manifesting.
There's 5.
Manifesting, yes. Generator, projector, generator, and
manifestor and
reflector. Okay. And what's the kind of like just a brief kind of outline of each of those auras?
So generators and manifesting generators, you guys make up the majority of the population. So the whole 70% of the population split down the middle, 35-35. And then you have projectors, which make up 22% of the population. And then you have manifestors, which are 8% of the population. And then reflectors, which are 2% of the population. So each aura type has its own strategy. And your strategy is the how in human design. So pure generators, their strategy is to respond, then act. Manifesting generators, you're here to respond, imagine, inform, then act, because you're like a little bit of manifester, but mostly generator. And then projectors are here to guide and direct other people's energies and the energy of creation. And then manifestors, they're here to inform. And then reflectors, they are here to wait a 28-day cycle or be a mirror of their community or their environment.
And they're the least the least common.
The least common.
Okay. And is there anybody who's in the public eye that we can say they are a reflector and who's indicative of type?
Sandra Bullock is the only famous projector I know. They have it written down that Michael Jackson is one, but his birth time is wrong on where people are pulling it. He's actually a projector. And I discovered that just through my own research. I found his exact birth time. So he's actually a projector. He's not a reflector. But Sandra Bullock is probably one of the most, famous reflectors that I can think of. That's like, A-list kind of celebrity to reference it. As far as projectors, there's tons of projectors. Jeff Bezos, Amazon, he's a projector. Barack Obama, Cardi B. There's tons of people who are projectors. And then you have manifesting generators, which, there's tons of manifesting generators out there. Lizzo, she's a manifesting generator. And then
she's fun.
I love Lizzo. And then you have your generators, Oprah, Beyonce, Kim Kardashian is a generator. And then your manifestors, Amanda Seales, Ian Van Zant is a manifester. Sade, she's a manifester. So it's when you learn more about it. And then that's why I reference celebrities a lot on my Instagram page, because people can see like, oh, this makes sense. So even with Sandra Bullock being a reflector, since she is, if you look at a reflector's chart, it's very white. They have all open centers. They operate by the moon cycle, 28 days to make decisions. And so if you see her, she's in movies that are strategically placed. She's not all over. She's not working. She's in a movie here and there. She just did Bird Box. We probably won't see her in something else maybe till next year. It's possible, because that's how they operate. They're not here to go like a manifesting generator or a generator. The other non-sacral energy types, which are manifestors, projectors, and reflectors, we don't operate like you guys. We can't push it to the limit because we will burn out a lot quicker than you do.
So yeah, talk about me.
So manifesting generators.
Yeah.
I love manifesting generators. I always say, if you could have a friend to help you manifest, manifesting generators don't really know their strength. Manifesting generators, you have the power to literally call in and visualize how you want your life to play out. And so many manifesting generators take that for granted. Because you're, a little bit of manifestor, but mostly generator. But you have the ability to say, let's say you're going to on a trip, and you want, however you wanted to play it out for your trip, just visualize it. And if you're in alignment with what you're supposed to be doing in your life, it will happen. It literally will happen for you. I know manifesting generators who actually, they are professional manifestors. They have their own business where they coach people and they help them manifest, because that's how good you guys can be at it. You can literally create your own life, your own reality. But, you get so stuck because you don't know what you want. And that's, half the battle. You have to figure out what you want. And then once you figure out what you want, and as long as it's in alignment, you can call that in. Like you have so many great things in your chart. One of the biggest things that point out to me is you have it's gate 57 and gate 45 and gate 54, and you have those all conscious. So consciously, in human design, you hear a lot of conscious and unconscious. Conscious are personality traits and uniquenesses that you can tap into. So your gate 57 is the intuitive gate in human design. And it's also clairaudient. So it's clear hearing. And so anytime you hear a little voice tell you to do something, listen to it. Trust me.
Easier said than done.
It's easier said than done, but I'm telling you, all manifesting generators who I've read for and who have this, especially in Black, they tell me time and time again about, I didn't listen to that voice and this happened. Or I did listen to it and then this happened. Listen to that voice. That's so important.
Do you know what? It's interesting that you say that, because there's a song that used to be really popular when I was at school, which is a long time ago. And it's cool. I don't even know if they were popular in the States, but it's a song called Breakout, and it was by a band called Swing Out Sister. They're a British band. I don't know if they crossed over. And I went into a shop today literally just to get a drink, and I wasn't really paying attention. I was all in my head about stuff, and because I'm still trying to figure so much stuff out. And then as I was walking out, I realized the song was playing in the background radio. Okay. And it's like breakout, don't stop to ask your phone. It's like literally talking about breakout, using your voice, all of this kind of stuff. It's like, and I used to dance like crazy to this song. So it's like this song came on, I'm like, oh my God, I haven't heard that song for ages. And I listened to the words, I'm like, okay. And then maybe half an hour later, a woman who looked, because the lead singer had a very distinct look. She had a very blunt bob, almost like Anna Wintour.
Oh, okay.
She had that kind of real look about her, that kind of like 60s modish look. And a woman who looked almost exactly like that walked past me. She had like the bob and the shades and walked past. And I was just looking at her going, maybe I should take a picture, but it's like, that's weird. But she wouldn't, because she wouldn't understand. I'm like, okay.
Right.
When you're looking, you're like, okay, I get the message. I mean, not only have I heard the song, but then I've seen literally this woman's avatar walk past me today.
Yeah. So that's what gate 57 is. It's those little reminders, those little like tapping you on your shoulder, like, hey girl, like this is what you need to be doing. So listen to that. And then you have the ambition gate, gate 54. So your ambition is very strong on what you want to accomplish, and you can do that. And then you have another gate, which is a favorite of mine, because I have gate 54 and gate 45. Gate 45 is the king and queen gate, and it's also a part of the money line. So there's a specific money channel in human design, but there are other money gates as well. But having gate 54 and gate 45, it's sort of like a combination for you to make the money that you want once you really tap into your self-worth and know your self-worth, that that can come to you. And especially being a manifesting generator, you can call that in. And it doesn't have to look like what other people make it look like, because you're here to master something as part generator. You will as a generator, but you're here to find the shortcut to mastery. For pure generators, they're here to master over time. You as a manifesting generator, you are here to find shortcuts to mastery. So you're probably always constantly doing multiple things, multitasking, being involved in multiple stuff. And sometimes that can get a little bit overwhelming, because when you don't see those tires moving, that traction going on anything, it's more like, I like to tell manifesting generators, keep your multiple things in the same wheelhouse. Try not to be too all over the place with it. If you're going to, do yoga, focus on wellness, focus on all of that. Do something around, what you're doing now, but don't like have a yoga studio and then also have a hair salon. Like, it's just, keep it all in the same wheelhouse. Because if you can do multitasking, you can do multiple things, and it's just best for you to keep that in the same wheelhouse so you don't get bogged down.
Thank you. That makes sense. And it's interesting what you say about the manifesting and the money aspect. I think that's if there's something that I'm meant to master and learn in this lifetime, it's that piece, because it's like the way that I've been looking at it, especially over, it's just time goes on, and just realizing the ancestral stories that I have around it, that I'm working on, realize they run so deep that I wasn't even aware of how I'm tripping myself up. It's like it's a lesson more than anything. Like you say, anything else I can literally put my mind to it and work it out. When it comes to things like, when it comes to the piece like money, this is like the biggest mystery that surrounds my entire life. And
it's not really a mystery. Keep it real.
Well, I'm just like, why is it so mysterious to me?
You know what it is? It's because I think what happens is that, and this is where I think for me, being a human design expert, guide, whatever you want to call it, is different from other people, because people come like, oh, how can I make money with human design? Teach me the marketing piece and all of that stuff. That's great. But you need to work on the core issues and healing yourself. And then money will be the byproduct of you getting down to the root of why you do the things. So getting down to the root of that. And, for you, money, you have an undefined will center, and your will center is revolving money, self-worth, willpower. And so when that's undefined or open, as they say in human design, that means that you're an antenna to other people's thoughts, ideas. You're unsure about your self-worth in some area. And of course, it's from childhood somewhere and what that means. So it's really about you clearing that part up. And then once you clear that up, then the money will come in. Then you'll be comfortable doing certain things and advocating for yourself in certain ways, but you have the pieces to the puzzle to do it. That's what I love about human design. You might not be there today, but you have the pieces to change your mindset to get there.
Right. That makes sense. Okay. Now, when you say it like that, it's like, okay, I see. I see why it's not there, and I see where the piece has to come from, and because it's such a, I can see it, but I've got to believe that if I do that thing, it's going to come, because it's such a backwards way of the way that we've been told that things are created, So yeah, I'm going to work on that. Well, you'll see. Yeah. If it works, it'll be apparent.
It
Oh,
will work. And that's the great thing about being a manifesting generator.
yeah.
It will work if you want it to work. If you set your mind to it and visualize it working out, I mean, down to the nitty gritty of, how it's going to happen, do that. I mean, the universe, it might not be exactly how, but it'll be as close as possible. So start practicing that. Do small stuff every day. I always tell people, just in general with manifestation anyway, regardless of your aura type, do something small. Manifest a free dinner. Manifest, some groceries. Manifest an Amazon gift card. Do little things so where you can start, because it's really about self-belief. And, as a manifesting generator for you, it's really about practicing the little things and manifesting the little stuff. And then you work up to your way, manifesting a free ticket, manifesting you getting paid to do a yoga class in Bali, all of that stuff. And then you can start focusing on those big things, but do small stuff. Manifest somebody offering to buy you a drink or buy you some coffee, just little things. So you can just get in the habit of, it happening.
I like that. And so you have your aura types, and is it the same as with astrology, that there are certain aura types that work well together in business, friendships, relationships?
Absolutely.
So how do you know who and who? Who should
that depends on charts. I actually work with and have worked with a couple of small business owners and with their hiring and helping them hire people to see what works well with them. But relationships, it's very, very important because when you put your charts together, you guys can either, form channels, you can activate centers, all of that, where it's like, oh, okay, this is great. So it doesn't, people are people, everybody's human. It's not like the end all be all if you marry a manifesting generator. It's about what components does that person have to make you better, or to I hate to say complete you, but to add value to what you already have. That's a better way of saying it. So yes, there are, for instance, I talk about Oprah, Stedman, and Gail a lot because they're like the perfect trio.
Why?
Oprah's a generator. She's a pure generator. So she's here to work. She's here to master something. She's mastered her brand, mastered communication. And then Stedman, he's a manifester. So he is here to start stuff, to initiate. And so he probably, I can just imagine him having so many ideas for Oprah all the time, just starting stuff and like, oh, you should do this, you should do that. And because she's here to work, she is able to execute and finish, because manifestors, pure manifestors, have trouble finishing. They are starters. That is exactly what they are here to do. They are here to initiate creation and inform. And so a lot of manifestors that I've worked with, they get very frustrated, especially if they don't have the proper team around them, because they're just here to start stuff. So they get bored very easily. So, but for Oprah and Stedman, it works well for them because they can go ahead and he can initiate, she can do the work and execute it. And then you have Gail, she's a projector, and that's her best friend. So the projector generator combination is just perfect for relationships. It's perfect for friendships, all of that, because projectors, we are here to guide and direct other people's energies. So we are the spiritual seekers. We're the healers. We are, just look at Barack Obama. We're here to lead in a way that guides and direct the energy of everyone else. So imagine having Gail by your side for all these years, and you can call her up and ask her, what does she think? Because that's the type of insight that projectors have. She's able to see those things. So that's why they've been friends for so long. That's why a lot of projector generator couples work out. Barack Obama and Michelle Obama. Michelle Obama is a pure generator. Barack Obama is a projector. Right. So it works that way. There's some combinations where I'm just like, I don't know how that works, but it totally depends on the people too. But I mean,
Jay-Z and Beyonce, if you know,
they're both generators.
Right. Okay.
They're both pure generators, which is fine. It's funny. Jay-Z's a generator. Beyonce's a generator. Solange is a pure generator. Blue Ivy's a generator. So there's a lot of energy going on. And not to talk about the Kardashians, but
they're doing something.
Right. Well, for instance,
whichever way you feel about it.
Kim Kardashian is a pure generator, and then Kanye West is a projector. So you can, about their relationship and him guiding. Sometimes, yes, he has tangents, and you can even tell he speaks when he's not invited, because that's what it's about. It's about us being invited, and then it goes on deaf ears, or he makes a fool of himself. So those are just examples.
That's good. And like you say, the best way to for most people to get a grip on things is to use people who are in the public eye, because we have an idea, we think, or we have an image of who and what we think these people are, in terms of putting it into, like we have the stereotypes of the star signs based on certain people. So how is it, and talking about astrology and astrology, I came to astrology like most people, reading the little things in magazines which are watered down, until I realized that there was actually
much more
art to the whole thing. Do you feel that like human design can start to really go into the populace the way that astrology has?
I believe so. I think that's why I've been called to like speak up now, is because it is starting to, I don't want to say catch on. I think there's a new wave of teachers there in it. As you know, there's tons of, astrologers out there, and they all have their different approach. And I believe the new wave of teachers are, saying, hey, wait, this can help us. This can help the young people. But I think, like I said, for what makes me a little different is that I've sort of like crack that code of why is this not working? Why, because a lot of the theory is so, I don't want to say it's basic, but it just works for a different generation. A baby boomer created this. So he can't, or she can't, or, the teachers who I've learned from, they really can't tell me how to navigate in 2019 when they were navigating with this in 1995. It's a big difference in the economics and social stuff, and, just politics. It's very different. So, the new wave is like sort of getting more of a grip on how to show this in a different light, a different perspective. Because, I hate to say it, even some of the older folks who I still follow, they're still teaching the same old things because that's all they know. That's fine. That's their target market. But I really can't learn from someone who's retired, and who doesn't have another, I'm in my 30s. I'm probably going to be working for another 25, 30 years. Whether it's for myself and my own company, whatever, I'm going to be working. So it's just a different, trajectory of the teaching styles, if that makes any sense. And it's no, shade to anybody, over a certain age or anything, but it's just different because, 40s is the new 30s. 30s is the new, it's so true because we are living longer. We are embracing new modalities of spirituality now. We are, making our own career paths that's not traditional. Some of us have hodgepodge careers. We have 3 and 4 different, 3 and 4 different careers to make up our living. They're not familiar with that. They are familiar with, you go to a job, you work there, you get a pension. That doesn't work for us anymore. I think the average millennial or extennial or even generation, the one Z or whatever ones, the average, I think, person stays at a job for 1.5 years now.
And they're getting started. They're getting started young. I don't know if you follow Gary V on Instagram. Like his content is amazing. But I was watching
he's a projector.
I was saying interesting.
Yeah, he's a projector.
He put on. I was watching one of his videos today, and he was on stage, and there was this girl went up. She's like, I'm 9 years old, and I'm a rapper and an entrepreneur. I'm like, my God, man, to have your brain in that place already at that age.
Already.
Oh.
already. So imagine a person who's in their 50s, getting ready to turn 60s, who's been in human design for years, telling that young projector girl how to wait for an invitation. It's not going to make sense to her. You see what I'm saying? So that's where people like me and other folks come in, because I can tell her, okay, yeah, while you're waiting for those big invitations, you need to be seen. So be on your YouTube, be on your Instagram, be everywhere, all of that stuff. And then when they're ready for you, you'll be ready and prepared. You know what I mean? So it's just that whole, it's a big generation gap in the modality. And so I'm trying to fill in the blanks for people in my age range and, lower and a little bit higher.
I'm for it. I wanted to ask you actually, you gave like a kind of percentage or a percentage breakdown of like projectors and manifestors. And is that as time goes on and like we've got like a new wave, a new generation who are coming in, who are completely different from us, if we kind of really go down to it, there's a different kind of human that's actually being born on the planet. They have a different makeup altogether. Will that percentage change? Will they be different?
Absolutely. It will definitely change. From my experience of me pulling so many charts, so many celebrities, so many thought leaders, so many millionaires, billionaires, the majority of those people, like thought leaders, millionaires, billionaires, they fall into two categories. They're either, three categories. They're either manifesting generators, projectors, and it's a very small percentage of manifestors. And it's, when you look at their charts, they have some of the same similarities and everything. But yes, it probably will change. There'll probably be more, I would say more manifestors and more projectors, and still more manifesting generators. But you can tell when I run charts and the different eras, 70s, 80s, 90s, on what people are. There's still, a big population of everything, but you can just tell at some of the different, the gates that are in their charts, some of the different, just little nuances about, just ideas and thoughts and money and all of that stuff are a little bit different. So it is kind of interesting to where it's going to go. I haven't pulled a baby's chart in a while, but I'll find a kid and I'll pull their chart.
I think you might have put her on your Instagram in the
last week. Marseille Martin.
Yes. That's it. Yeah.
So yes, she is a projector. Her chart is amazing. Projectors are, and the great thing is though, I feel, which is amazing, is that for projectors, for manifestors, those non-sacral energies, they're kind of lucky because they have parents who are aware. If she didn't have a parent who was like,
oh my gosh,
like, girl, you can't get no production deal. You're 8 years old. What are you talking about? Just act. That would suck. But her parents are aware. And because projectors, and I'm going to talk about this, projectors are old souls. They're probably the oldest soul out of the aura types. And as an old soul, if you meet projector kids, they're very mature. You can tell that they've been here before. I can even remember as a child, talking to my parents and looking at them like, oh my gosh, they're so stupid. Like, like not in a bad way, but I just had an awareness as a child of certain things. And I can, even from Marseille's personality, you can tell. So thank God that she has parents who notice that and who are letting her fly, because she's going to be so far ahead. So I think that's the difference that you will see, is that parents are now more aware spiritually, and less confined within the religions and all of that stuff, to where they're letting their kids just be. And so that's the beautiful thing that you will see, is people just really living from their core.
Yeah. When I see her talk and like, I'm like, my gosh, to be around that one, that people are aware and they take you seriously and they just run it to the point where you just start now, and there's none of this self-doubt and having to convince people and put up with like the people closest to you down on you. They set up an office for you, they made it happen. And good luck to her. And it's happening. It's not even good luck to her. It's
right.
done.
It's happening. It's happening. She has a whole deal, and she's going to now be able to produce. And then when she's 18, 21, she'll have this huge like life perspective, and she can take a break and she can figure it out again.
Yeah.
It's just imagine that blessing to have that. So I think that would be the difference, is the children coming up after, they get that awareness from their parents, because, you know, a new generation of thinkers and thought leaders and all of that. So that's
and it's exciting to think, if you have like a generation that are coming up that are allowed to flourish in the main, what kind of environment that's just going to create in terms of like
amazing,
the possibility for everyone, really.
The possibility for economy, just everything. The vibe is just going to be different.
And talking about, you know, visions of the future, like what do you hope to see in terms of for yourself and for human design? What is your goal with your work?
Well, my goal with my work is to fill in the blanks for, you know, people, especially women of color, you know, and because we've had this conversation about us being a little bit behind in some of the spiritual modalities, and really you being a catalyst to bring us up to par with utilizing certain modalities and certain tools to get us to where we need to go, because it's working. You know what I mean?
But do you think that is the case, or it's just that there hasn't been the platform and the exposure? Because we've always been there. You can go back and find books and books and books where these things have been talked about. And also, I'm sure you spoke to your grandma, and I know aunts of mine who've been like staring at her.
Let me rephrase. I will say, being fearless with it, and taking away the stigma from it, and putting ourselves out there, because we've always done it. We are the originators of everything. So we've always done it, and it's more about now we're finally stepping up and showing ourselves, because it's not safe, and it wasn't safe to show ourselves. So I don't believe, not necessarily bringing awareness, but utilizing the current platforms to say, hey, we're over here too. We've been doing this. We are great at it. Let me show you how to do it. Because what happens is that because you have so many people who are not used to seeing us in that light, in those spiritual modalities, at the head, if you want to say, or in the forefront, then it's almost like a little secret kind of thing. Like, oh, I didn't know you were, you know, I have a friend who's a Buddhist. Like, I didn't know you were a Buddhist. Like, you know, though it's like secret stuff, because it's not of, you know, Christianity, it's not of the church and stuff like that. And it's like bad. So it's like, no, I've been a Buddhist for years, and being the only Black person in the room, you know, you know,
like that. So, that was like that is and has been, and it's changing slightly, my whole experience, especially around yoga. You know, going into yoga studios, it would literally be me, myself, and I would be the only Black person in the room, and maybe one or two people would come in and out. Sometimes it was because, you know, that it's costed at a certain price that not necessarily prohibits other people, because I'm not saying that women of color can't afford this, but they wouldn't necessarily deem that as an expense that they wanted.
Right. It was right. It was,
you know, they'd sooner spend it on the hair.
Correct. It wasn't a necessity, but now self-care, spirituality is starting to become a necessity. That's probably where I'm going with this, is that it's becoming more of a necessity and a need versus I'm not going to worry about that right now. So that's where I think it's going to be more women of color in the forefront of all of these modalities and all of these spirituality tools and practices, because we're finding like, wait a minute, this is more of a necessity. Like, my parents were wrong. Like, me spending, you know, every Sunday in church and listening to this doesn't resonate with me anymore. So where do I go now? How do I find my own personal in tune kind of religion that I can create myself? And so that's what it's going to.
And also to know that it's safe, because previously, you know, you were you were either outcast, you were called the mad woman, or
Right.
It's dangerous to like show these things.
Exactly. Or just blasphemous and all of this stuff, and just pretty much shunned from communities and everything. So that's prevalent. But like you said, now it's safer because people are starting to do their own healing, is starting to do their own work on their inner stuff, going to see therapists, and it's making a huge difference. So I think that going forward, you will see more of us in these spaces, and we won't be the only Black ones.
Yeah. Well, come on to Her Conversations, that's what it's all about. Create a platform where everyone is seen. So it's like you can see that it just comes from everywhere. Everyone can do this. It's not specific any color at all. So it's great to have you on. And I wanted to ask you the Her Conversations podcast questions that I ask all my guests.
Okay.
So the first one is, what is the best piece of advice a woman has ever given to you?
The best piece of advice would probably be trust yourself. Like, because I especially have trouble at times trusting myself, but I know deep down inside. And so it's trust yourself. That's probably the best piece of advice.
Perfect. And what woman do you feel represents higher energetic resonance?
There's so many.
Well, name them all. It doesn't have to be one.
Of course, recently Beyonce, Homecoming was amazing.
I know. I know.
Like
I reinstated my Netflix just to watch it.
Like she just killed it for us. She represented us so well. The whole thing was just so well. It was just so well done, and it felt. I can't explain the feeling. It just felt so good. So, of course, Beyonce, Oprah, Ava DuVernay. I love her, what she's doing in film. Like, I really, really love what she's doing. And she's such an inspiration just for, the whole starting late kind of thing. She didn't start directing until she was like 35 or something like that. And so just that whole starting late, and just so it's tons of people. Those are probably the ones that I can think of now.
But those are good ones. I agree. And what's your favorite self-care ritual or practice?
Taking a bath. I'm a Pisces, so that that sets the tone, sets the mood. I sleep like a baby. Taking baths, that's my number one.
That's a good one. Do you know, I'm one of these people that think I'll always have a bath, or I'll have a bath, and I just never do. I've even got like a bag of salts that I could. Maybe I'll do that now.
Or another one is going for a walk without my cell phone. That's another one.
And just listen. Do you walk through like parks and nature?
Yeah, just walk through my neighborhood and just think, and just not with my cell phone.
That's good. Good for you. So what's coming up for you? What new products have you got? New teachings?
Well, my podcast, I'm doing a podcast just strictly on human design. It's called Is My Aura On Straight? You can search it up wherever you listen to podcasts. I'm also writing a book. The book should be done. It's called Is My Aura On Straight as well. The book should be done, soon. And I
tell
also,
me when. So I'm going to pin you down, because the only reason I'm doing this to you, is I've been writing this book for so long that I actually put it out on my social media that by the time Her Conversations turns 2, which is November, the book will be out, or I will delete all my Evernote notes that I've been collecting for.
Oh, wow.
Because I'm just tired of just like dragging this thing, and I just want a conclusion to it, so because otherwise it'll be another year. It'll be another year. I've got nobody personally coming up to me. I've got no publisher or anything like that. So it's for me to create the whole thing and then decide whether I self-publish or look for publishing. So there's nothing pushing me in any direction apart from the fact that
I'm probably self-published. I'm comfortable with that. The goal is to finish it by June something, and at least the first draft, and then I would love to release it by August.
Oh wow, that's quick. That's it. Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, good luck with it.
It could be done. It can be done.
Anything can be done. It's just you need to like make time and be focused. That's the.
It can be done. It can be done. It can be done.
Yeah, and if I think, and then, you go and watch something like Homecoming and realize that you waste so much time on you.
Well, I always tell people you're not Beyonce. Beyonce's different. You might be Beyonce because you're a manifesting generator. So you have that, that sacral center where you can work. But me, I'm not Beyonce. I can't work like that. I will burn out quicker than she will, quicker than you will. I can take some practices that she implements. But I can't, I'm not Beyonce. I'm not Beyonce.
But even that, when I was watching her, she made me feel lazy. I'm like, I'm not doing anything. Even watching it, and I was getting so much from watching it, I'm thinking, I'm enjoying this, but I really feel like I'm wasting time. There was this kind of like play that was going on in my mind,
Yeah, I get it. And I'm going to do a podcast on Beyonce and the whole homecoming thing that'll be dropping in a couple of days, and just, telling people how they can, take away some of the stuff from Beyonce and use it in their life. But also Beyonce's mastered Beyonce. She's been in this game for 20 years. So something that she can do in 8 months, you might take 8 years to do. You know what I mean? So you have to look at it in that way as well.
She's and she was one that she had the support system around her that helped her.
Beyonce just showed up now. Like, yes, it was her ideas and her creativity, but did you see all those people working? You know what I mean? But that also takes mastery in getting to that level.
Yeah,
hire people to do that.
And that's a skill in itself, isn't it? Delegation,
hiring the right people, even down to the lighting. That's important. You want the best lighting guy. You want the best, sound engineer. That takes years of experience, years of touring, knowing who is the best, knowing what the best is for your audience. I remember in the point of the thing, she's like, I don't feel the energy. I want them to feel what we're feeling. That takes not just Beyonce and the dancers and stuff. That also takes the right stage people, all of that, the right light, all of that. So that's what, you know what I mean? That's what you get.
Yeah. And it's like looking at it from a technical point of view, and I'm not the most technical person.
I can't even imagine.
Just is it one person or 5 sitting behind a board?
It's a team of lighting people. It's a whole team of lighting people.
And sound, and like, because everything was mic'd individually, right?
Yeah.
Every instrument. This craziness.
So, right. So that's mastery in itself. So, pulling apart that whole thing is something that I want to do. So, because I want to show pure generators, what, because pure generators get very, they have these plateaus, and you experience those too as a manifesting generator, but not as much as pure generators. And they have these plateaus where things are just streamlining and they feel like they are like not making it anywhere. But I actually did a reading the other day, and she was just like, I've learned how to respect the plateau, because the plateau is needed for generators. It's needed to that even space of nothing happening, so you can reflect, so you can think about things, so you can figure out maybe a different way to do something.
So much to think about. I can't wait to hear that. Am I subscribed already? If not, I will subscribe.
Yes, subscribe.
And I'm always walking and listening to. I take my phone, but it becomes my education.
Your education stuff. Yes.
Yeah. Perfect. So let everybody know where they can find you, what your podcast is called, all of your stuff.
So you can find me on Instagram. Follow me on Instagram at AYCEE Brown. It's Aycee Brown. And then my website is the same, ayceebrown.com. And my podcast is called Is My Aura On Straight? Just search that and you can find that in iTunes. I think I'm on SoundCloud. I don't know if I'm on Stitcher, but I'm at the main places. So I'm at a couple of places, Google Play, those places. So find my podcast and enjoy it. And if you want a reading or anything, reach out to me. Or if you have questions, send me an email.
Perfect. Do so. And I can't wait for this one to come out and people to just like really start to understand more about human design. Just in speaking to you over this hour has given me like a little bit more flesh to the whole bones of everything. And it's like, I'm going to dig into it a little bit more and see how I can implement it, because it makes sense, especially when you start adding all the other modalities together and put them all on top of each other. It's like you understand more about yourself as a being and what you're able to do, and you've got the guidelines are there for you, so it's not like you've just been dropped on earth and then just left.
Right. Just left for dead. Figure it out. No. You're here for a reason.
Yeah. Cool. So beautiful. Aycee, thank you so much for being on Her Conversations today. I truly enjoyed it.
Thank you for having me, and I can't wait to hear the episode.
It's going to be good. Thanks to Aycee for joining me on this episode of Her Conversations, and thank you for listening. You can discover more about me by visiting my website, that's carolmaywhittick.com, carolmaywhittick.com, and also Her Life Academy is now open. This is the monthly instruction and inspiration platform for awakening women, created by me and created for you to magnify your spirituality, sensuality and soul, and live a life of higher energetic resonance. So go to www.herlifeacademy.com. If you're catching this before June 2019, you can actually experience Her Life Academy for free. You can also join the Her Life Academy Instagram at Her Life Academy on Instagram, and on social media you can find me personally, Carol May Whittick, and my Instagram is Casmic, that's at CAZMICK. Also, I appreciate you leaving a comment, liking, sharing any episodes that resonate, and if you subscribe, you'll be notified as soon as a new episode is published. Once again, thank you, and until the next episode, have an amazing week. Take care.